So in today's Ask Solis H2bF How to Be Funny episode, I want to talk about a fairly advanced humor technique, which I would have liked to have saved for further on in the channel. But this technique occurs so rarely that when it happened to me the other day, I have to talk about it while it's still fresh. So I call the technique the meta. And it's kind of hard to explain without examples, so I am going to give the example in a bit. But first I'll just say that it might sound like irony, but it's not irony. Irony is when two things contrast. So for example, there's a contrast between what you say and what you mean, or between what you want to happen and what actually happens. Yeah, that's irony. The meta, on the other hand, if anything, it's actually a parallel between two things, which you're not aware of. Which brings me to the next element of the meta, which is you need someone to make you aware of the parallel. So this may sound fairly abstract, and like I said, it happens very rarely. But whenever it's happened to me, whenever I've had a meta moment, it's when I'm in a group, group conversation. We're talking about whatever topic, and I realize that what we're talking about is reflecting what our situation in that moment is, or what we're currently living. So I call it the meta because it's kind of like there's two levels of reality, right? The level of the conversation and the level of our situation. So it's kind of like a reality within a reality. I mean, if you've seen Inception, it's like a dream within a dream. So yeah, I call it the meta as in meta reality. I also just like the name meta. Okay, so that is the concept. So now the example that happened the other day. So I'm currently studying Latin, and the other day in class we saw pronouns, and specifically we were learning about relative pronouns, so qui, quae, quod. And the teacher said, okay, to help you guys remember relative pronouns, I'm going to give you an example of a famous quote that's relativist, philosophically speaking, but which features a relative pronoun. So if you can put, those two concepts together, the relativist sentence with the relative pronoun should help you remember. And the sentence she gave was, the famous question by Pontius Pilate, which is, what is truth? And in Latin, quid est veritas? If you've seen The Passion of the Christ, you should have seen him ask this question. So anyway, but the thing is that she said qui est veritas. Okay, so as students, this is their first time learning this, we're like, okay, that works. But then, as we look at our notes, we realize that in fact it's quid est veritas. And so she had misquoted the line from Pontius. So what usually happens in a situation like this, when there's confusion and uncertainty in class, is chaos broke out. And you had some people insisting that the example was still good. You had some people saying like, it was good because veritas is neuter. And then I, for my part, was saying like, no, it's not good. And if anything, veritas is feminine, which it is. And anyway, but the teacher, trying to put some order in the class, was saying, okay, calm down, it doesn't matter, we're moving on, it doesn't matter, okay, we're moving on. But I was insisting, and I was like, but veritas is feminine. And everyone was like, no, it doesn't matter, we're moving on. Okay, and that is when I had my meta moment, because I realized that we were being relativist about a relativist sentence, right? We were saying it doesn't matter about a relativist sentence. I mean, it's too good. Anyway, so then I said, but this is relativism, to which, a few people laughed. I guess that's the thing about this humor technique is I like it, but it certainly doesn't get the whole crowd laughing. Anyway, so I love this story because not only does it give an example of a meta moment, but there's also irony, because the word that I was trying to pin down as in, you know, no, it's actually feminine, about which everyone was saying, it doesn't matter, let's move on. So the word that we were being relativist about was veritas, which means truth.